What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
The original The Kissing Booth film may have come out 3 years ago, but it's just as relevant today as it was back then. Now a film series, The Kissing Booth is based on a 2012 novel by the same name and follows the life and times of a young girl named Elle and her best friend Lee. But there's more to these two than meets the eye, and a lot more to these films than you may expect. Let's take a look at what some of these scenes look like when you strip away all the CGI and effects. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.
Student Council is expecting our idea for the fundraiser today.
When The Kissing Booth first premiered in May of 2018, it was beloved by fans around the world. It was considered a massive success and was viewed by millions of people during its first week on Netflix. But did you know that the film was mostly hated by critics? Yeah, I'm pretty shocked too. The Kissing Booth may have been an instant classic for some viewers, but most film critics felt like the plot was super cliché and didn't really explore anything new. To top this off, a large number of critics went as far as claiming the film was misogynistic. Yikes.
Absolutely not.
Awesome.
You have zero experience.
I don't know about all that, but the movie was apparently popular enough that it warranted Netflix making 2 sequels, one in 2020 and one that will be released in 2021. But there are a few secrets about the series that you may not know about. So most of us are aware that film studios will use all sorts of tricks to create some amazing shots. Star Wars was one of the first major films to use heaps of computerized effects. But even movies like The Kissing Booth need to use some CGI and green screens here or there, but probably not in the ways you'd expect. You remember that scene when Elle and Marco are hanging out in the arcade and then they have a dance-off when no one is around? It was one of the most romantic scenes of the entire movie. These two are dancing like no one's watching, and it seems like the entire world just melts away around them. You may be surprised to know that this entire scene was shot on a green screen. Yeah, the arcade and everything didn't even exist. Well, sort of. Part of the scene was shot in a real arcade, but the majority of this scene was filmed on a soundstage, with Elle and Marco being photoshopped into the scene after the fact. Netflix opened up about this scene toward the end of 2020 and posted a YouTube video that has gained nearly 400,000 views since then. They showed clips of what the scene looked like before it was edited and after it was finished. The two can be seen dancing on a DDR platform, staring lovingly into each other's eyes as a camera pans around them on a track. I never really thought too much about how the producers would have managed to fit a camera and a rail system into such a small area of the arcade, but it definitely makes sense that CGI would make this scene far easier. It's impressive enough that these two were able to learn all the choreography of this scene and make it blend together so seamlessly. But when you add in the fact that the entire scene was shot while being surrounded by a green screen, it just goes to show you how talented these two actors really are. I can't imagine how many takes it must have been to get this scene as perfect as it is in the movie, and the way the editors blended the lighting is just phenomenal. You'd never know these guys were green screened in.
Oh my gosh, yes! Is this how you spend your Friday nights? Conning people on the DDM machine?
Scenes like this don't happen every day. This just goes to show you how much work Netflix is willing to put into films like this to keep fans entertained. Yes, the company may pump out a few too many movies from time to time, but this is definitely not a film to be overlooked. By all means, this is one of the most impressive scenes I've seen on Netflix in a very long time. But that isn't the only secret of The Kissing Booth. Netflix still had a lot of tricks up its sleeves to help bring this series to life. The movie wasn't filmed in California.
Hey! Thanks for your safety.
For example, we know the movies are supposed to take place in California, right? More precisely, the bulk of the series takes place in Los Angeles. But in reality, the series wasn't filmed in California at all. It wasn't even filmed in the United States. Nobody really knows why, but the directors and producers decided to fly everyone to South Africa to film about 90% of the movie. The actors spent a lot of time across the pond rehearing these scenes and doing their best to get everything right.
And here I am, first day of senior year.
And here we go.
It must have been such a major task to get all of the cast and crew to South Africa for a few months, but for whatever reason, that's what Netflix decided to do. This was all revealed by Beth Reekles, the author of the original book. Someone on Twitter had reached out to Beth to ask about where the movies were filmed, and she kindly revealed that they were shot during the hot summer months of South Africa. The only scenes that were filmed on-site in Los Angeles were the scenes that involved major Los Angeles landmarks, such as the Santa Monica Pier or some of the scenes on Venice Beach.
Need a hand?
Hell no.
We need Marco for the booth.
Joel Courtney's stunt double. So Joel Courtney is obviously the man behind the legendary character Lee. Lee and Elle are always getting into some sort of predicament, or more likely, just doing their best to have a good time. But do you remember the scene when Lee jumps off of a balcony into a pool with Elle? You probably never realized this, but the person who jumped off the balcony was not Joel Courtney. Once they had started filming for the day, the crew members quickly realized that this scene may not go as well as they planned unless they brought in a professional. While they originally intended for Joel to perform this stunt on his own, they began to realize just how the shallow pool really was and how far of a jump this was. For someone like Joel, who had never done a stunt like this before, this scene could have easily ended in disaster. Though, thankfully, the producers didn't opt to have him try the stunt anyway. Instead, they waited to hire a stunt double who was able to pull the scene off without a hitch. Though a fear of heights wasn't the only reason Joel couldn't film this scene. When the team arrived on the first day of filming, Joel managed to crack his chin on the door of his car before they had any usable footage. We don't really know what happened here, but he posted an update to his Twitter account with a video that explained everything. Though his chin bump wasn't that simple. He was actually forced to go to a hospital to make sure he didn't need to get stitched or a brace of some sort. Thankfully, it turned out to be a relatively minor bump, but he still had to take it easy for a while and let his chin heal. We can assume they covered up his massive scratch and bruise with makeup or something for the first few scenes of the movie.
Now he has to leave the scene and go to the hospital. I love you.
Oh my gosh.
Joey King's Upchuck.
Xbox. This one.
So Joey King plays the beautiful and lovely Elle throughout the series. You may remember a scene when Elle and Lee are sitting in a field eating a burger. Well, unlike most television shows or movies, these two were actually eating during the scene, rather than just pretending. But for Joey, she may have eaten just a little bit too much. She posted to Twitter afterward and said that she ate far too many burgers while they were filming. Immediately after shooting this scene, she needed to head elsewhere to film the scene where she is playing soccer. Though she ate so many burgers that she threw up while filming. Thankfully, she was perfectly fine, but this must have been so embarrassing for her. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.